So he's putting some radishes in there. Okay, now he's seeding. That looks pretty good. Okay, so he can stop, right, because he has to turn off the camera and do the YouTube thing. Okay, hey you all, Farmer Jesse. So, today I'm gonna talk about this. And you're gonna be like, the Jang? And I'm gonna be like, no, it's not the Jang. This is called the Clean Seeder AP1. Sutton Ag Enterprises sent this to us to trial. So I'm trialing it, and I'm gonna talk about this. So I'm gonna talk about it, I'm gonna talk about this tool, and I'm gonna talk about how it's different from the Jang. So let's do it. Beyond price. Now let's do it. Alright, before we get going, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, awesome. So, the Jang but cheaper? Let's check it out. Now, I'm going to go through this kind of part by part and talk about some of the differences. Over here, we have the Jang. Over here is the AP1. So, let's start just at the handle. This is the first noticeable difference between the two. The handle on the AP1 is fixed and it stays put. The handle on the Jang, I keep it loose so I can slide it back and forth, but it can be fixed or loose and you can slide it pretty far. In fact, one of the things that I really love about this handle is that when I'm seating up against the edge of a tunnel, let's say this were a bed, and I were seating up against the edge of it, it's a lot easier for me to walk in the pathway with this if I'm seating in a corner where maybe the board is like right at my head. So that is one advantage to this. That doesn't have it. Next thing, as you go down, although the AP1 does come with gears, right? It's almost exact same setup as the Jang. It doesn't have a place to put them. Tire width. This is important. The back tires on the AP1 are probably about 3 inches or so wider than the ones on the Jang, which, when it comes to actually standing them up, is an advantage, but is a disadvantage when you're trying to seed between rows. So in this little clip, I'm seeding between radishes, seeding arugula between radishes. The radishes will come out, the arugula will grow up, but I can't do that without the Jang. I couldn't do that with this one because it would crush all those radishes. So that's one noticeable difference. I know they do make a kickstand for the JP1, but I'm not going to buy a kickstand for this because it has a lid on it. So I'm not going to buy a kickstand for it because if it falls over, nothing spills out. However, you can buy a kickstand for those, but I do like with that wheel on the AP1 that it just kind of stands up better on its own. Now let's get into the hopper a little bit, because this is an important difference, because I think that this may be a place where you'd run into a little extra expense with the AP1. So let's do this real quick. So with the AP1, you basically have your gearbox right here. There's a little bar that comes out, and that hooks into the hopper here, and then that spins your box, your metering wheel or your seeding wheel. We often call them rollers. It spins that. So the difference with the Jang is that the seeder, the gearbox, is actually over here, comes through here, turns these gears here, and that connects to this gear here. The reason that that is kind of a big deal is because in the back, this is where the seeds come out on the JP1 on the Jang. That means that when you're pushing it, you can see the seeds coming out. So it's good to know that they're coming out at the rate that you want them to. With the AP1, the seeds actually come out the front, so it's a lot harder to see how your seeding rate is going. you kind of have to trust in it. And I'll say a couple more things about this. The plastic that the hopper is made out of on the AP1 definitely feels a little cheaper than the JP1. Like, it's a thinner plastic. I can't say for sure, but I would imagine that time to time you'd end up having to replace the hopper. I do like this. It's very simple. Not being able to see the seeds, though, is really unnerving when you're seeding. In terms of those metering wheels, in terms of the rollers that you can see here on the bottom, they are, as far as I know, 90% of the ones that work for the Jang will also work for the AP1. So there's some interchangeability there. So if you have a Jang and you want another Jang but don't quite have the money, you can interchange the parts. You could set this one up to do maybe larger seeds or something, and then set your Jang up to do more precision stuff. One thing is, this is kind of funny. Similar setup to the Jang when you're changing out your metering wheels, but this whole piece comes off. I don't know why that bothers me a little bit, just I'm afraid I'm gonna lose this or something. Or I'll lose a bunch of seed. But, and also when you're seeding with this, it doesn't quite feel as smooth. When you're seeding with the Jang, it feels very much like you're driving a high-end car. It's so smooth, you see the seeds dropping, it's very reliable. This one feels a little bit more jangly. Again, all this should be in the context of this is $300. This is a $315 seeder. The Jang is $599. So that's where the context is. The AP1, when you buy it from Sutton Ag at least, it comes with this kind of narrow shoe, which is pretty nice. I think they call it a chromium shoe, and it's a little bit, this is the one that came with the JP1. We got ours from Paper Pot Co. And they send you this one. It is a little bit, it goes a little bit deeper maybe than this chromium one. But the thing about these is it almost doesn't matter because they're actually interchangeable. I've been actually using the double disc that I love and did a video about. That's the double disc opener there. I've been using that on both, so I've been just swapping that back and forth. I actually wish I had two double discs because I think for a no-till system they make way more sense. And then the only other physical difference is that the JP1, the Jang, is kind of a beast. It's a heavy, and I think maybe I'll try and find the specs on it and put it on there, but it's heavy. The AP1 is actually a little bit lighter, and it may also not be quite as robust. This right here feels a little bit, the rubber sort of plastic here feels a little bit cheaper than this. This definitely feels a little bit stronger, more robust. So longevity wise, it's hard to say which one of those will last longer. But the weight of the JP1 is like kind of significant. It's definitely not light. So I want to give just like an overall assessment, which is that I think this AP1, damn it, I kind of like it. It's all right. It works really well for a mid-range seeder. Is it as good as the Jang? No. The other day, when I was kind of deciding between the two, I went with the Jang because I needed to seed my spring carrots and I trust its precision. But if I'm sowing something like radishes or just, you know, something that doesn't quite require that precision, I'm okay with using the AP1. In my mind, the Jang is about as close to a perfect instrument for farming that you can get. It's just, I've used the Earthwave for years. I'm still trialing the Haas seeder. I've done the pinpoint seeders. There's just nothing like the Jang. It's the best. I do think ultimately having to switch out this right here, the hopper, occasionally with this one, you know, that may have some expense to it. So kind of my assessment is that it's a good seeder. It's a good mid-range seeder. It's not as good as the Jang. Is it $100 less good? Like this video if you like this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week. Bye.